This is Martin Fowler. Now, I'm going to be quite blunt with you. I hate him. I do. Martin Fowler, to me, is just a whiny man. He is so obsessed with family that he has, family that he wants, family that he used to have, and because of his obsession around it, he fails to see what is right in front of him and what he's doing. It leads to all these situations that I really just dislike. He also uses women in a way that I don't like. I think he plays them off of each other, and I think he wants the idea of his mum. I think he's a mummy's boy. Well, not really. He does like his dad Arthur too, but he wants the ideal relationship, the relationships that he puts on a pedestal, and I really dislike that because in doing that, he is sort of forcing women to contort themselves into the image that he wants, but also he just is not the best partner. Stacey, be a lesbian, please. I'm talking End of the Dead because in February of 2025, he passed away, and it was very unfortunate. And I didn't mention this, but he was born in a place called Walford, and Walford is in East London. Quite a new place, and he was one of the first babies to be born in Walford. When he did pass away at the age of 40, he was mourned, and people were posting pictures of him growing up, and you know it's mad when he is edited with Paddington going up into the sky. Even though that he was mourned by the British public, I was that meme of that guy in the window wearing that Sicko t-shirt because I was loving it. And look, we can all be problematic at times. However, let me stop you right there because he's fake. Come on. He is a fake man, and in the very off chance that Jimmy By sees this, I hate Martin Fowler because I love Jimmy By. I think Jimmy By plays this whiny man so well. I still don't want to turn the TV off. Now that's talent. He's part of a show, or was part of a show, called EastEnders. Now EastEnders is a long-running British TV show that has been going on for about 40 years. Now this video is being made in honour of Tony Warren. He is the creator of Coronation Street, which is another British show that we do not have time to get into. But Tony Warren was born this week, and we just use Soap Week as a week to just lament on why soaps are cool and why more people should watch them. And this is my contribution to that cause. So let's talk about the community of people of EastEnders. Before I get into it, the word community is for me a bit of a contentious word, because community is, in my opinion, been bastardized by corporations and people trying to sell you shit. It feels very superficial and hierarchical. It feels like there's always a hierarchy. There's also a fly that is pissing me off, and if I suddenly dip, it's because I'm trying to get this fucking fly. And you know what? I think I have an opportunity. Hold that thought. Oh, I'm back. Right. Did not get the fly, but the fly will come back, and I will be there. Community, for me, is a contentious word in 2026 because it feels bastardized. It feels like influencers and corporations are trying to sell you shit. They're trying to be superficial, trying to maintain a hierarchy at the same time, and trying to maintain capitalism, whiteness, the like. A lot of these fandoms and a lot of these spaces where we celebrate the art that we love have a high barrier of entry. It feels like a lot of the people who are involved in these pieces of art are usually desirable, or there's usually a white element to it, stuff like that. Whereas EastEnders, whilst it does have some of these issues, and I'm not going to even negate that, it's supposed to be about the regular person. It's supposed to reflect British life, which, put a pin in that, I'm going to come back to that later. It feels like a community of people who are also just regular. You know, we might be disabled, we might be poorer, we might not fit the desirable criteria, but that's why I love EastEnders, because we're all just regular. What I adore about soap, outside of our marginalizations, is that there's law. There is death, and there is love for this fandom. It's not the type of love of an 8-episode season. EastEnders has gone on for 40 years. It is ingrained in what we do. These actors are obviously real people. They go out in the world. Let's be honest here, Steve McFadden, who plays Phil Mitchell, is always going to be seen as Phil Mitchell, and we're going to look over and be like, that's Phil! And you know, for better or for worse. And it also means that when we're talking about these characters online or with our mates, it feels real, because we have 40 years of storylines to fall back on. And these families are all interwoven within each other. We can almost weave ourselves into these families ourselves. Our love or our dislike for certain characters feels like we're talking about an auntie. Like when we talk about Max Brannan and his wayward ways of dealing with women. We could be like, man, this man is wayward, fam. But it's fun to talk about. And he's also a wayward man in real life, but I'll let Zoe Bread talk about that. I have been informed, don't you worry. The barrier of entry for EastEnders fandom is a lot lower, and I love it. I love it. As someone who is disabled and can't always leave the house that easily, being part of the EastEnders fandom means that I can really be with my peers and we can really talk about things, and it doesn't feel like I'm missing out. Since COVID started and the lockdowns happened, society has changed, and it feels like there's this rush to normality, but those who don't fit those criteria, who are isolated, tend to get left out. And EastEnders and the EastEnders fandom feels like one of the few things that I can latch onto. I wonder if it's like my way of chasing normal without actually having to be there. Or is it my way of connecting with a society that doesn't really want me? I can connect with this fake society that reflects what is going on outside, so it does feel a little bit real. But also, it's safer because it's on my TV screen. I say all that to say, let's go back to that pin that I had of EastEnders reflects British society. Question for the audience, is that always a good thing? Now, you know Britain. Master of fascism. EastEnders is a very complicated programme for me. As much as I have deep love for this programme, I have a deep desire for this programme, there is also a little bit of propaganda, because if you didn't know, EastEnders is on this channel called the BBC. I don't need to tell you about the BBC, do I? The BBC is the BBC, and it gets a bit complicated when we talk about EastEnders. I must assume that people who love Doctor Who have the same sort of dichotomy, where yes, I adore this programme, but boy, the channel that it's on loves to push a little bit of propaganda every so often. I think there's a normalisation of right-wing politics on EastEnders. There's a character called Ian Bill, who, to be honest, was always right-wing-ish. You know, he called his ex-wife a fat bitch, like, ooh, that was in 2003, the man is grown, but still, he's a villain. He, in my opinion, was going down this road of being sort of like a Nigel Farage type, and that sort of comments on like, oh, I pay for the NHS and blah blah blah, is being normalised, and as much as it's funny to watch, I do wonder, with it being on the BBC doing the same thing with Nigel Farage, like, what is the purpose of that? An easy example is COVID. Let's go back to COVID. When lockdown was uplifted, a lot of soaps started doing storylines about, oh, what if you have OCD? You must want to go outside, don't you? You must want to just go back to normal and everything's okay. Well, not acknowledging that the past, at the time, like 2 to 3 years, was a lot of trauma. So maybe some people did not want to go back to normal. Maybe they wanted to change their behaviour. And it any sign of masking on these shows was seen as being a weirdo and whatever. And in my opinion, it's just propaganda for the government to use to say, hey, this show's calling you, don't you want to be like the other folks? And that's where soaps get complicated for me, because it's not just COVID, it's a lot of issues, a lot of things that are very neoliberal, and sometimes they really do go for it, but then the propaganda has to kick in and it frustrates me. We'll get to you Hollyoaks one day. That being said, life is complicated, society is complicated, even our interpersonal relationships where it comes to these sort of politics are complicated. So I will always love EastEnders. I think EastEnders make some ridiculous mistakes. I think sometimes EastEnders is a ridiculous programme. I think sometimes the fandom are ridiculous. Case in point, Denise is an icon. Don't you try me. There is always the foundation of love with EastEnders. And I think that should be focused on. With soaps in general. We go in with these silly theories and these opinions about these characters that we adore, that we hate, or that we just mildly dislike. But it's all based on love. If you're struggling to connect with people in any capacity, whether it's online or in person, I promise you, sometimes soaps is a very good barrier of entry for that. Because soaps, again, grounds us on reality. It gives us something to talk about. And it makes us feel wanted. Because there's a group of people on the TV that already want you because they want to tell you the story. And there's a group of people online, or maybe in person, who love to gossip about their latest storylines. Thank you for watching this video if you got this far. This chat is based on an essay I wrote called I Hate Martin Fowler, I Think He's a Whiny Bitch. No. No, but in all seriousness, it is based on this essay that I wrote in the Look Deeper zine. Now the Look Deeper zine is in the V&A, and it is so strange to say that an article I wrote about how much I hate Martin Fowler but how much I love EastEnders is in a museum. That's cool. I like that. It's part of their Design and Disability exhibition. I'm not too sure what the price is, but it's not that expensive. Or if you want to just read this particular zine alone, you can buy this solo on the Look Deeper website. However, if that's not your bag, just thank you for watching. And thank you for being here. This is Anusha HQ, where we talk about everything and anything. This is something new I'm doing. If you didn't know, that I had a music channel which was just a mishmash of all my vlogs, all these pieces and all my music, but it felt time to separate the two, and this channel is just me yapping. So yeah, thank you for being with me, thank you for sticking with me. Make sure you share this with a friend, and you know what? Tell me what soaps that you love, that you used to watch or that you still watch. And look, we can add it to each other's roster. Maybe I'll do a video about the soaps that you're watching. I've been told to watch like The Polygamist on Netflix, and I don't know if I want to be stressed out by a man just yet. But we'll see. Thank you for watching. I've been Anusha. This is Anusha HQ. I'll see you later.